Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the corporate world. Today we're diving into Talkspace's latest proxy statement. It's a bit like getting an invitation to a company's annual meeting, but with a lot more fine print. Proxy statements can seem dry, but they actually give us a sneak peek into what's happening behind the scenes. We'll be looking at everything from who's on the board to how much the executives are making. Let's get started and find out what's really going on. This document is basically Talkspace's invitation to its stockholders for their annual meeting. It tells them when it is, what's on the agenda, and how to vote if they can't make it. The meeting is scheduled for June 18, 2025. First up, there's the election of directors. John Cohen, Eresh Shachar, and Madhu Pawar are up for election to serve as Class I directors. If elected, they'll be on the board until the 2028 annual meeting. Next, stockholders are being asked to ratify the appointment of Kostfora Garbe and Kaysura, a member of iGlobal, as the company's independent auditors for the fiscal year ending December 31, 2025. Basically, they want the stockholders to say it's okay that they hired this accounting firm to check their books. Then there's a vote on executive compensation. This is an advisory vote, meaning the stockholders get to voice their opinion on how much the top executives are paid, but the board isn't legally bound to follow their advice. It's more like a temperature check on how stockholders feel about the company's pay practices. The board is recommending stockholders vote for the election of the directors, for ratifying the auditors, and for approving the executive compensation. If you don't specify how you want your shares voted, the proxy holders will vote in line with the board's recommendations. Only those who own Talkspace stock on April 21, 2025, the record date, are eligible to vote at the meeting. The election of directors needs a plurality of the votes. This means the three people with the most votes win. With independent auditors and executive pay, they need a majority yes vote. The audit committee already picked Kostfora Garbe and Kaysura as the independent auditors. They are asking the stockholders to back them up. Here's a snapshot of what the company paid its independent registered public accounting firm, Kostfora Garbe and Kaysura. In 2024, audit fees were $1.059 million, tax fees were a tiny $18,000, for a total of $1.077 million. Here's the resolution. Stockholders are asked to approve the executive compensation as it is laid out in the proxy statement following SEC rules. It is non-binding, meaning they don't have to listen to the vote. Time to check out who the executive officers are. Of note, Ian Harris is the Chief Financial Officer. Talkspace has a bunch of rules and procedures to make sure they're doing things right, like corporate governance guidelines, a code of business, conduct and ethics, and an insider trading compliance policy. The board has determined that most of their directors are independent, which means they don't have any major financial ties to the company other than Mr. Cohen and Ms. Pawar. The company spells out how they handle risk, with management taking care of the day-to-day stuff. There's an anti-hedging policy that prohibits directors, officers, and employees from purchasing financial instruments to profit from stock value decreases. This makes sure that everyone is invested in the company's success. This table shows how many shares are potentially available to be issued under equity compensation plans, including stock options and stock awards. Now for the numbers everyone's been waiting for. This table gives us a look at how much the top executives made in 2023 and 2024. Let's zoom in on a few key figures. John Cohen, the CEO, had a total compensation of $1.8093 million in 2024, which includes salary, bonus, stock awards, and option awards. Gil Margolin, the Chief Technology Officer, took home $1.03 million in 2024, which includes salary, bonus, stock awards, and option awards. Gil Margolin, the Chief Technology Officer, took home $1.7 million. Jennifer Falk, the former Chief Financial Officer, departed in May of 2024 and received a severance payment of $400,000, representing her annual base salary, paid over 12 months. This section dives into the details of any unexercised options for company stock. All of Talkspace's top executives are part of the executive severance plan, which means they're entitled to certain payments and benefits if they're terminated without cause or resign for good reason. As a smaller reporting company, they are not required to report as much regarding pay versus performance. For 2024 and 2023, CEO compensation was reported to be about $1.80 and $1.3 million 16, respectively. As of the end of 2024, there are about 16.7 million securities issuable from outstanding equity awards. And there are about 9.8 million securities available for future issuance under equity compensation plans. The weighted average price is $2.93. The board members also get compensation. Douglas Bronstein was paid around $230,000 and others about $200,000. Now let's look at who owns the most stock in Talkspace. The HE Master Fund LP is a big player owning 14.14% of the company, and Douglas Bronstein, a director, has a significant stake as well. Talkspace has a related person transaction policy, which makes sure that any deals involving people connected to the company are reviewed and approved fairly. Okay, so what does all of this mean for Talkspace? From this proxy statement, Talkspace looks to be in a relatively stable position. The company is asking stockholders to re-elect directors and approve executive pay. However, the level of institutional ownership by HEC, Master Fund LP, and Camera Capital 2 LP could mean the company is vulnerable to activist investors. The good news is, Talkspace seems to be emphasizing data privacy and security, which are critical for a telehealth company. Talkspace seems to be maintaining good corporate governance. In conclusion, Talkspace is navigating the waters of the telehealth industry with a focus on governance and growth. There are always risks, but they seem to be managing them reasonably well. If you found this breakdown helpful, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe for more corporate deep dives. Thanks for watching.